Hello again, and welcome to Portsmouth This Week, the voice of Portsmouth Town Hall. I'm here this evening with Jackie Schulz, who is our registrar of voters in Portsmouth. Jackie's going to give us a demonstration and a little talk on the voting process this November. And it should be pretty interesting because the election is going to be fascinating this year. So, Jackie, over to you.
I want to thank you all for coming. The purpose of having this information night is to alleviate some of the anxiety that people may have about the November election, to familiarize you with the new equipment that that will be used. It was used in the primary election, but if you were not here or if you didn't vote in the primary election, this may be the first time that you've had an opportunity to take a look at it. First of all, we'd like to start off with the new opportunities that you have of taking charge of your own voter registration records. The information that we have on your voter registrations comes from you at some point. And you now have the ability, by going to the new website that the Secretary of State's Election Division has created called voteri.gov, and you can search your information, verify that it's accurate, and you can make changes to what you need to. Some people may have had a hyphenated name that doesn't belong with a hyphenated, or a name may have changed, or it may be misspelled. Any kind of error, a birth date could be incorrect, but now you have the opportunity to go online, not only with your computer, but you can also do so with your smartphone. And we have had people, when I've gone to the high school to do voter registration drives, not all the students remembered if they did register to vote when they got their driver's license, so they could go onto their phones and check it out. Now you have an opportunity to make changes, and you also have an opportunity to register to vote online, which is tremendously helpful. Recently, within the past few weeks, the Secretary of State has initiated another site which is called rivotes.org. If Barbara goes, yeah, she went on to that. And if you click that you're going to vote, you can say yes, and it'll tell you, are you registered to vote in Rhode Island? I don't know. You can go on that and you can check to make sure that you are indeed registered. You're registered to the party affiliation that you think that you are registered to. You can find your mail ballot, and there are also YouTube videos there about how to apply for a mail ballot and how to vote on Election Day. In order to cast your ballot for this election, you have a variety of options. One is the mail ballot application that you can fill out. That will mean that a ballot is mailed to your home or to an address that you have indicated that you want it sent. People who are leaving to go to Florida for the next few months can have their ballots sent there. They can have it sent to school. We have a lot of school students that have given their mail ballot applications so that they don't have to come home and try and vote. If you're a military or an overseas voter, you would fill out what is called an FPCA. It's a federal postcard application, and that is available on the Federal Voter Assistance Program site. It is specifically designed to help overseas voters and military voters find out how to apply for a mail ballot application, help them fill it out, and we'll go through the process with them. All mail ballots are mailed directly from the Secretary of State's office. They're processed through the local board of canvassers. However, they are mailed directly from the State House or from the state. And we can track it, so if there is ever any question, if somebody is getting ready to leave for Florida in 2 days and they have not received their mail ballot, we can find out if it was mailed and when they should be receiving that. And we can try and help find that ballot for them. Then the other option that you have is to come to the polls on Election Day. One of the important things to do, though, is to know where to go on Election Day. Portsmouth has 8 precincts. However, for the presidential and vice presidential election, we have an additional precinct that's going to be located here in the town hall. It's going to be upstairs in our Portsmouth room. And that is for people who are not registered to vote in Portsmouth, but who wish to cast a ballot for president and vice president only. So at that time, people would register to vote, and they would also be eligible to cast a ballot for that office only. That's the only time that people can register the same day and cast a ballot, and that's for that particular office. Everyone else can go to the exact same site we went to before to discover which precincts they live in, and that determines your ballot. I do have sample ballots here for people who would like to take one and understand exactly what the ballot is looking like, who is on it. Let's see. Another option that you have to cast a ballot is the emergency voting period. This is an opportunity for voters to come to their local canvassing office between October 19th and November 7th at 4 p.m. That's when it ends. You're eligible to cast your ballot directly here. You come ready to vote. This is an opportunity for people who have suddenly found out that they're not going to be available for to go to their polls on Election Day. It's also available to anyone else. If we do have people who cannot stand in long lines, and you're welcome to come over and cast your ballot at any time. Our office hours are Monday through Wednesday, 8:30 until 4:30. Thursday, we're open later. Oh, come on in. Thursday, we're open until 6:30, and we do close early on Fridays at 2:30. However, if there is an instance where someone cannot make it during those business hours, please call the canvassing office. We'll try and make arrangements. The location of the polling sites will be posted in the Newport Daily News. I also created something that's called, I call it the cheat sheet. It's for people who really don't want to have a sample ballot, but it does have the listing of all the polling sites with the precinct numbers. Inside are all of the candidates that are on the Portsmouth ballots. And there is a brief description on the back for the local ballot questions that are going to be presented to the Portsmouth voters on November 8th. There are a lot of resources to help you understand what's on the ballot. This is your opportunity. Your ballot is the loudest voice that you have when you're speaking to your elected officials. It's the one that is the most respected. It is the one that's most heard. Therefore, knowing what's on your ballot prior to going into your polling site is beneficial to everyone. And there are many, many resources that are available for you to help you understand what's going on. If you look in the newspapers, there are many events that are going on where candidates will be meeting to express their concerns, what their priorities are. These people are asking you essentially to hire them, to work for you. So knowing their names and knowing who they are is beneficial to you, knowing where they stand. And I encourage you to take that opportunity, all of the opportunities that are available to find out who they are and what they stand for. When it comes to issues, referenda, there is the backside of a ballot, and these are very important questions that are all-encompassing. And the Secretary of State has developed this wonderful handbook. It's the Voter Information Handbook. It was mailed to every single household this week. If you haven't gotten a copy, you're welcome to take a copy that I made here. This explains the voting process. It goes over the mail ballot options and the emergency voting options that I just spoke to you. It goes into it in more detail, and it also explains the the state questions. There are 2 amendments to the state constitution. There are bond issues also. They're being asked for you to take a look at. I urge you to go to the resources that they have available here and understand them. There are 2 local questions that Portsmouth will be presenting to their voters. One is a bond issue for a new police station, and another one is a charter change to our home rule charter. And I have developed a template from theirs to explain why these questions are being presented to voters and what it would mean to approve or to reject them. And those, let's see, and the resources there was a feasibility study done for the Portsmouth police station, and that is available on our town website. I urge you to take a look at that. Also, the home rule charter is also available, and that is also on our website. So if you have any questions, you can go directly to the sources. Let's see. Does anyone have any questions about the voting process itself, or has encountered any kind of difficulty? All right, that's good to know. These elections don't happen without poll workers, and I'm very grateful to see 4 potential poll workers here. And I thank you very much for your support and for your dedication to making these elections happen. They must be staffed, and they are staffed by dedicated people who spend very long hours helping voters obtain their ballots and are able to cast them and have them counted. And I am in need of at least 20 more poll workers, yes, for the upcoming election, according to the guidelines that have just been established. So if you know of anyone, the criteria is pretty good. Clear, is it there? There we go. Okay, we have positions that are greeter. That is a person who would help the lines flow by greeting people as they come in and assisting them find the correct lines. Whether or not they're in the right precinct, they're able to do that. The supervisors actually check the voters in, making sure that they are in the right precinct. They help them sign their ballot application, and they would distribute the ballot to them. The clerk is in charge of making any kind of adjustments to voter records. If somebody comes there and they need to change their address, they need to change their name, for some reason they're not in the book, they can't be found, then the clerk will assist them. The clerk also assists people voting provisional ballots. Now, a provisional ballot, there's a lot of rumors that go on about provisional ballots, that they don't get counted, that they're a waste of time. They do get counted, but the key is in the word provisional. They are counted provided the voter was eligible to cast that particular ballot. The reasons why someone would vote a provisional ballot is that their name was not on the list, and that could be an error, and that's why we do the investigation after the election. has been counted, we will determine whether or not that particular ballot gets counted. Somebody could have already applied for a mail ballot. If you've already applied for a mail ballot and you haven't sent it back to the Board of Elections to be counted, that provisional ballot will be counted. But I have to find out whether or not there was a mail ballot that was sent back first. I think that's about it. In this election, we don't have to worry about party affiliation. So that would never be an issue. But in primaries, that is an issue. The moderator is in charge of the entire polling site. They supervise everything, make sure things are running smoothly, and they communicate with the Board of Elections and with us. I am able to hire high school students. So if you know of anybody 16, they won't be in school that day. I would love to be able to introduce 16-year-olds into the wonderful world of Election Day. Whether or not they want to is another story, but it is pretty exciting. Let's see. Now, does anybody want to see the DS200? It's pretty wonderful. These worked very well during the primary election. There were a few glitches, but if anybody wants to cast a sample ballot, we have some pens over here too. You can tell me what your favorite ice cream is and your automobile. We can cast your ballot. I think you've done this before, right?
A couple of times.
There you go. There you go. Yep, I have registration forms. Yep. Yeah. What will happen on Election Day after you've been checked in by a poll worker, by the supervisor? They will present your ballot to you in this privacy folder, because in all honesty, the only thing private about Election Day is this ballot. Everything else is public. Your polling site is a public meeting. It's an open meeting. It's subject to open meetings laws. And many people are surprised when they go to a supervisor and their name and address is announced. In the past, I've had people call me and they've been very upset by that. However, if you were to attend a town council meeting in this chambers and you went to the podium to address the council, you would state your name and address. That is exactly what's being done on Election Day. It's not a violation of your privacy. It really is a public act of voting. So your ballot itself, though, will be presented to you in a privacy folder where you'll be able to go into the booth and you'll be able to mark your ballot. The new ballots, they're a little bit lighter weight, and you fill in circles. You don't have to be within the lines. It's not a precise science, but you do need to fill in your ballot. And when you're done, you will place it back in the privacy folder if you wish to maintain your privacy, and then you'll be able to slide it into the machine. This machine actually counts the votes. If you voted in the past with the Eagle, you were alerted by a sound that let you know that the ballot had been counted. This doesn't do it. So if you're looking for an audible signal to let you know that it's been counted, it's not going to happen. But this says a blank ballot has been placed in. So if I did not cast anything, and there are people who do put in blank ballots, they want it to go, and if I have the option to have it returned back to me to cast it, and it will tell me the ballot was not cast. It was not counted. If I take, let's see, do I have? if I present my ballot here, now I overvoted. I was only supposed to choose 2 from a particular category, but I chose 3. So I'm going to be alerted to the fact that I did that, and I'm going to have the option of having the ballot returned where I can have that ballot voided. I would see the moderator void this ballot and be given a new one. If, unfortunately, there are people who do overvote, who say, you know what, I did not know anybody anyway, and I really don't want to take the time to void out this ballot. If I hit cast instead, that's my option, any of the other offices will be counted, but the one that I overvoted, nothing will be counted. So that's another important thing to do. When you are casting your ballot, when you're in your booth, count how many you've done. And this is a paper ballot. If you make a mistake, you can always get a new one. Even if you made a mistake on your mail ballot, you had one sent to your home, and you made a mistake, and you're like, oh no, what do I do? We contact the Secretary of State's office, we will get you a new one. There's a process, don't panic. It's paper, fortunately, not stone. But if anybody would like to come up and cast their ballot. If you do undervote, say there's a category you were supposed to choose 3, you only chose 2, it's not going to tell you that because you are entitled to undervote. So pay attention to that too. Yep. Okay, come on up.
So it goes face first? I mean,
It can go anyway. It can go in upside down, backwards. You can try it. Go ahead.
should I do it upside down?
Do it upside down.
Upside down?
Upside down and backwards.
On the back.
See, now that's a yes.
I'm not ready yet.
They did that to let you know that you got to look on the back, and that will happen. Yep.
Oh, that's funny.
Yep. Don't be afraid. Yep. There you go. There you go. And you've been counted.
He did it right. Okay. Now I'm going to try to be a proper student.
It is important, and it is a good habit to look on both sides of a ballot. In a general election, the referenda are often put on the back. Some instances, we are very fortunate we only have a one ballot election. There are some communities that are having 2 and 3 ballots that they have to consider. I think one community has 35 charter questions that's going to be on their ballot. Yes, that's kind of a lot.
We don't do anything with that. We don't take anything. Okay. Fantastic. I did it right.
That's right.
It's right, it goes in.
Yep.
Was it right before that? I didn't vote in the primaries because it wasn't, so I never even, I saw this, though, that was good. Yeah, that thing is beautiful.
Yeah. At the end of the evening, the results are transmitted electronically to the Board of Elections, and it's almost instantaneous. By 8:20 on September 13th, 92% of the polling sites had already sent in their results. Of course, that few percent, one of them was Portsmouth. We didn't quite make it. But that's okay. It was a technical issue. But we were able to transmit very shortly once we were able to get the memory stick out. So.
Could I ask you a question out of the normal?
Certainly.
I moved last year from California. I'm wondering if they've erased me from the California.
If you, when you register to vote here,
Yes.
you placed your previous address on the bottom.
Ah,
That was recorded, and our Secretary of State does communicate with other states to let them know.
so I didn't want somebody voting on my ballot over there.
You can probably verify in a similar way to the way you can verify in Rhode Island by going to the Secretary of State's website and checking to make sure.
Thank you.
Because people are not automatically removed from the rolls. There's quite a process that has to go through for someone to be removed. So, okay. Let's see. Any of the issues that, can you think of any of the issues that arose that we can warn people about? Besides looking on both sides, knowing what your ballot is, becoming familiar with it, and don't be intimidated by it. There are a lot of resources that will help you both understand what is on the ballot. If somebody is running for a particular office, you don't know exactly what they do. What's the difference between a city council and a town council? You can go onto the websites, you can look at past agendas, you can see the kind of decisions that are being made. There's a statement that all politics are local. I love this chart that has been placed on the back of this, and I urge you to take a look at it. It says, you choose what matters to you, and there are several topics, and they go from education, environment, public safety, the economy, and then it says you find the elections where these kinds of decisions are being made that affect you. And this column is the local level at the city and the state and the towns. Then this is the state level, and right here is the federal level. And if you see all of these things like charter schools, reduced carbon emission, recycling efforts, smoking on beaches, better lighting in neighborhoods, taxes, bike paths, these are all local. These are all decided on the local level. So people who say that they don't know who's running for office, they don't recognize their names, these are the kinds of decisions that are being made. So it behooves you. Pay attention.
Okay, thanks very much, Jackie. That was fascinating and a great look at this. If people have any questions, they could call you.
Please.
And also go on the town website and email you as well.
Yes, they can. And I'll try and put the information that I provided tonight and have it available on the website.
Okay, thank you very much, and I'll see you on the 8th of November.
Please, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
And thank you all for watching.